name's Jason, and I'm a friend of Josh's.
Okay.
I am a drone dude. I've been doing drones since, 2017, I think.
Tidwell FPV.
There we go. Just a handle. No name, no address, just a handle. John, you know a thing or two about FPV drones?
Yeah. I've been flying since the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. Cracker Shack from Atlanta. I fly FPV for about 7 years now.
Brian?
You fly FPV?
I do.
You have a guess as to why you're here.
I do.
What is your guess?
I'm guessing, I think Brazilian maybe, and it might be made out of plastic.
Oh, damn it. You watch my channel. Damn it. No, that's cheating.
What? Is this supposed to fly?
Okay. Wow. There's a lot of time invested in something that's not gonna work very good. That is super light. That's my first take on it. That is incredibly light. I like it.
Well, it's light. I don't think it's gonna fly. It's sure not gonna crash.
Have you flown it yet?
No. The top plate broke when I tried to put the battery on. I did, however, arm it.
And did it try to leave?
It did not fly away when I armed it.
Well, yeah, don't crash it.
I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna work very well.
Why not?
It won't work very good because of this. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
That's a bad thing.
Yep. What kind of things might you do differently if you were to build a quadcopter?
Completely different material.
Which one you would use?
Carbon fiber.
Because?
Stiffness.
This material is kind of questionable, you know? You don't know until you know.
Because it's polycarbonate.
Uh-huh.
And it's an XT30 on an all-in-one with what are those motors?
2205s on an all-in-one. I don't think there's any all-in-one that can support a 2205.
Oh, those are Raystar. Wait, is this like a product that you could buy? What is the VTX?
Video transmitter? You like the VTX? What's the matter?
Built in?
Where's the VTX, Brian?
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, a camera.
It's built into the camera.
It's a Whoop
It's
one.
an all-in-one Whoop VTX.
Yeah.
What size is that all-in-one?
Thumbnail size? Like, this is for like a tiny Whoop or something, right? Like, this is not for, where's the writing at, dude? What is it? Do you know what all-in-one this is?
I think it's an iFlight.
So it's an iFlight.
It's a 16 millimeter all-in-one.
16 millimeter. As big as my thumbnail, basically.
Uh-huh.
Wait, hold on. What kind of battery are you supposed to be using?
Probably you might be able to get away with 2-cell on that.
It's going to run on 4-cell. Look at the motor KV.
Through an XT30?
Yeah.
4-cell on, okay.
Yeah, okay. Why not?
You're not going very far, right? Like, you're staying close?
Yeah.
Because this is a tiny Whoop. Analog.
What's the receiver? Is that ELRS?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that'll work.
Okay.
So these should be, is that medical tape?
I'm not sure. Oh, yeah.
It's definitely not going to have much range.
Why
So
not?
is it supposed to be internal with the tiny?
Why not? Why won't it have much range?
Because it's got the little dipole with the little 1S. Well, wait, these are 1S though, right?
I don't really know. It does work. It does work.
It does work.
I have armed it, but not flown it. Do you have an opinion?
I really don't, because I've seen so much, you know?
Okay.
I've seen a lot that's incredibly rigid and strong, and
What's
some that's brittle that breaks quickly.
I want to fly it
Okay.
shortly.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. There we go.
This thing is actually gonna rip, I think. I think this is gonna be extremely fast. This is gonna be extremely fast quad.
Awesome. Good. We're gonna fly it.
Well, have fun.
You'll be there.
Yeah,
Probably.
You're going to be trying to control it.
I think it's gonna fly.
It should.
There's a lot of like time and effort put into it, you know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know. Let's send it, dude.
Awesome. This is the worst quadcopter I have ever seen. In fact, it's so bad that when I first saw it, I assumed the creator was trolling and intentionally trying to make a bad quadcopter. I disliked the first thing I saw about it, which was the frame. And then I looked at the flight controller and I disliked that too. And then I looked at the video transmitter and I disliked that too. And then I looked at the motors and I disliked them. And I couldn't find one positive thing. I don't even like the propellers. And after I spent 15 minutes saying horrible things about this, I thought, wait a minute, this guy might have actually just built this and not... I might be a horrible person for spending 15 minutes making fun of this guy's quadcopter. But I traded him a brand new 5-inch freestyle build in exchange for this so that I could show it to you and we could talk about why these things are bad. So you don't do these things by accident, and we're going to take it out and fly it, and we're going to find out. Maybe it's not as bad as I think. I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. Before I start saying bad things about this build, I just want to say, whatever you fly, as long as you love flying it, that's all that matters. I am not, at my heart, an elitist who makes fun of and looks down on people who maybe don't have the money to build something that's up to my lofty standards. I have got permission from the creator of this to give my reaction to it and talk about the things I think we can learn from this build, why most builds don't go this direction. And as I said earlier, I have also traded him a brand new top-of-the-line 5-inch bind and fly as sort of an apology and compensation for my initial reaction to it. So with that out of the way, let's talk about this quad. And the very first thing I noticed about this quadcopter was the frame. The frame is cut out of some kind of like plastic acrylic sheet. And the reason we don't do that, you can immediately see because it is quite flexible. It is quite flexible. Plastic sheet is cheap and easy to machine, easier to machine even than carbon fiber. But that flexibility and I think it's probably less durable than carbon, although I'm not 100% sure. But that flexibility means that the flight controller and the gyro are going to have a harder time dealing with vibrations. You're going to get a lot more problems with resonance. It's going to be harder to tune and harder to get to fly well. The motors are Racer Star 2205 2300 kV. And these actually used to be very popular budget motors. The 2205 size is much smaller than what we would consider ideal for 5-inch props today, although there was a time maybe in the 2017 timeframe when it would have been the standard. Racer Star motors were never very high quality. They were always like the bargain basement budget motor, just the cheapest thing that would even get you in the air. I think I remember them going for like $4 or $5 a piece. That being said, there were people who lucked out and got a good set and really liked them and stood by them. The 2300 kV is going to be appropriate for 4S battery, so we're good to go there. That is mostly a modern standard. The flight controller is a 16 millimeter all-in-one. It's an ESC and flight controller on a single board in a 16 millimeter size, which confuses the hell out of me because he's got plenty of room here to put a 25 millimeter all-in-one or even a full-size 30 millimeter stack. I really don't like using 20 millimeter or 16 millimeter sized electronics if I can possibly avoid it, because I think that when you compress things down to that small size, they get less durable. You're much more likely to pop an ESC. And that's especially true when we're working with 5-inch props like we are now. They're going to make the ESC work harder. And then you, on top of that, it's an all-in-one. So both the flight controller and the ESC are crammed into this tiny, tiny little stack. I would never do this if I could possibly avoid it. Only on a really small quad where a 16 millimeter is mandatory, and even then, only with smaller motors would I even begin to feel comfortable about doing this, but he's done it. I do like that it is soft mounted, although this amount of squishiness may cause more problems than it solves. If you over damp your flight controller, it can get some low frequency or mid frequency wobbles that can affect how you fly. This is good. He's installed an Express LRS receiver for me. Yay! I'm a big fan of that. I found one thing about this that I actually like. That's good. I think that this rubber band is probably intended as a battery strap. Suffice it to say, that's never going to hold on in a crash. We're going to use a proper battery strap. However, once we strap the battery to the top plate, we may find that these nylon screws being used to hold the thing together will just rip out in a crash because they'll strip super easily. I would always use metal screws if I could possibly manage it. We do have an XT30 plug here, which is small for most 5-inch batteries, but we're going to figure out a way to make that work. And it has got electrical tape here. We should really not use electrical tape is not a permanent solution. We really want heat shrink for a permanent solution if we could possibly get it. It looks like there was some heat shrink, but then it like slipped off or something and was replaced with electrical tape. Okay. I am happy to see we've got a capacitor here. That's good. The capacitor is sort of sticking up in the air. If you do this on your builds, it will move in crashes and vibrate, and eventually it will break loose. So we really want the capacitor secured in some way. One way we could accomplish that would be to zip tie or tape it to the battery lead, and then zip tie or tape the battery lead down to the frame in such a way that the battery lead isn't going to move around as we plug and unplug the battery. And then we come around to the camera and video transmitter, which is an all-in-one camera and video transmitter. These things have awful range and awful image quality. Obviously, they'll get you in the air, and they're most appropriate for very small aircraft where you don't have the room for a separate camera and video transmitter. But on a 5-inch like this, you'd really prefer to see a separate camera and video transmitter. And he has very cleverly mounted them in this 3D printed mount, presumably of his own design. A lot of design work went into this. The only problem being that nothing is holding it in there. It can just pop out and flop around. So we're going to need to find a way to secure that, or we're going to have a bad situation. And I can even find something to complain about the props. These are Gep RC 5x4 props. And the 5x4 prop shape is an older design. It's not quite as good performance as some of the modern designs, like the shape of the blade profile and stuff. But that's not my complaint. My complaint is that this appears to be, I can't be sure, but this looks like an older, is it glass nylon? It looks like one of those older plastic formulas that is really brittle. I'm not gonna, he only sent me 4 of these props, and I want to test it on the props he sent it with, so I'm not going to intentionally snap one right now just to see if in fact it is glass nylon, but it's been so long since I've seen a glass nylon prop, I kind of can't remember. But we're going to see how durable they are. If they hold up to a crash without shattering, then I'll take back my criticism and say they're at best a little bit dated. But nothing worse than that. There are a couple solder joints that have broken loose on this, so I'm going to go ahead and get those repaired, and then we're going to take it out, and we're going to frickin' see how it flies. I can't wait. Well, unfortunately, we will never know how this thing flies, because the mere act of tightening the battery strap, as I was getting that last little cinch down, I guess I put too much pressure on the top plate, and it shattered in my hands. Yeah. Whatever this stuff is not very strong and is very easy to break. So, I can't go fly it. But I'm tempted to scrap this video, but there's a lot of good information in it about why we don't do these things anymore, how this is different, and so I'm going to go ahead and post it. I hope you enjoy it, and I'm sorry that I'm unable to deliver on the promise of finding out how this thing flies. No matter how it flew, it wasn't going to crash well, and I'm not sure how well it was going to fly because it's very, very floppy. Thank you so much to Black Jungle for sending it to me. Black Jungle is a very active member of my Discord server, makes a whole lot of hilarious memes during my live streams, and I really appreciate him sharing this quad with me, even though it lived up exactly to my expectations, so I guess it's on me. That's going to do it for this video. Happy flying. Jeez, I cut my hand. Can't believe it.